As you all know, November is nonfiction November, and I have some reads for us to choose for me to read this month. So let's get right into it. Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. Today I wanted to come and share with you all the book options for me to read for nonfiction November. If you go over to the community tab, there is a survey up where you get to select which book I should read, but I thought it would be nice for you all to actually hear what the books are about if you're not familiar, so you know what you're choosing. So first up, we have an RIP to a Legend. It is Scenes from My Life by Michael K. Williams. And you all are probably familiar with who he is or who he was, but if you are not, let's get into the description. When Michael K. Williams died on September 6, 2021, he left behind a career as one of the most electrifying actors of his generation. From his star turn as Omar Little in The Wire, to Chalky White in Broadwalk Empire, to Emmy-nominated performances in HBO's The Night of and Lovecraft Country, Williams inhabited a slew of indelible roles that he portrayed with a rawness and vulnerability that leapt off the screen. Beyond the nominations and acclaim, Williams played characters who connected, whose humanity could not be denied, whose stories were too often left out of the main narrative. At the time of his death, Williams had nearly finished this memoir, which tells the story of his past while looking to the future, a book that merges his life and his life's work. Mike, as his friends knew him, was so much more than an actor. In Scenes from My Life, he traces his life in whole, from his childhood in East Flatbush, New York, and his early years as a dancer to his battles with addiction and the bar fight that left his face with its distinguishing scar. He was a committed Brooklyn resident and activist who dedicated himself to working with social justice organizations and his community, especially in helping at-risk youth find their voices and carve out their futures. Williams worked to keep the spotlight on those he fought for and with, whom he believed in with his whole heart. I've only heard good things about this book, so this is an option that I'm going to read at some point regardless, but you could vote to get it sooner. Next, we have one that I got recently. It just came out last month. That is We're Alone by Edwidge Danticat. You heard me talk about this with my anticipated releases. She also signed it. I went to a book event recently. So excited. All of the books I have by her are now autographed, so that makes me happy. But let's get into what this is about. Tracing the loose arc from Edwidge Danticat's childhood to the COVID-19 pandemic and recent events in Haiti, the essays gathered in We're Alone include personal narrative, reportage, and tributes to mentors and heroes such as Toni Morrison, Paul Marshall, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and James Baldwin that explore several abiding themes: environmental catastrophe, the traumas of colonialism, motherhood, and the complexities of resilience. You've heard me talk about this often. These are all books that I will read at some point, but again, you get to vote on if I read it sooner. This one has been everywhere, no secret at all, and this was on my anticipated releases as well. That is The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. If you know me, you know he's one of my personal goats, and this is what it's about. Ta-Nehisi Coates originally set out to write a book about writing in the tradition of Orwell's classic Politics and the English Language, but found himself grappling with deeper questions about how our stories, our reporting, and imaginative narratives and myth-making expose and distort our realities. The first of the book's three main parts takes Coates on an inaugural trip to Africa, a journey to Dakar, where he finds himself in two places at once: a modern city in Senegal and the ghost-haunted country of his imagination. He then takes readers along with him to Columbia, South Carolina, where he reports on the banning of his own work and the deep roots of a false and fiercely protected American mythology, visibly on display in this capital of the Confederacy, with statues of segregationists still looming over the public squares. Finally, in Palestine, Coates sees with devastating clarity the tragedy that grows in the clash between the stories we tell and reality on the ground. Another option for you to vote for. The last option we have is one that I've been meaning to read for a long time. I purchased it recently, happy to finally have it in my collection, and that is The Three Mothers: How the Mothers of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and James Baldwin Shaped a Nation by Malaika. If you're not familiar, here's what it's about. Much has been written about Alberta King's son Martin, Louise's little son Malcolm, and Bertie Baldwin's son James, but virtually nothing has been said about the extraordinary women who raised them. Another option. That is it for me. Let me know what y'all want below. Go to the community tab. As always, I'm MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. Until the next one, please remember to give some time, to be kind to each other, and to have the very best day of your life on purpose. Peace, odabo, adios, ciao.